Hi and welcome back to my channel. Thank you for coming back. In this video, we are going to be making our 5th video in our series of deploying microservices. But for this 5th project, we are going to be working on deploying our application using a CI/CD pipeline that is Gitlab, and we'll be deploying this locally. So we'll be building an image using Docker, and we are going to use Argo CD for continuous delivery to our Kubernetes. So for this, few things that are prerequisites. You have a little knowledge of how to use CI/CD pipeline or how to write a pipeline, or if you've used GitHub or Gitlab before, or if you've used any CI/CD tool. Also have some knowledge of continuous delivery using Argo, and have some knowledge of Kubernetes and some knowledge on Docker as well. So with that, the prerequisites you need is the Gitlab server, and you also need some Kubernetes cluster. But for this, I'll be using my Docker desktop. So I'll walk you through the flow. So first will be from here, which is first committing the code. Once the developers are done with the code, they are going to commit their code using Git, and they are going to push this to their repo. So repo here, it can be on GitHub, but for this case we are using Gitlab. So we are going to be creating 2 repos. One for our source code or our microservices that has different folder that is housing different microservices, and we're going to be building another or creating another repo that will be housing our manifest file. And we're going to be writing a CI/CD pipeline or a GitLab CI pipeline. This pipeline is going to run our workflow, which will be to run our job, build our Docker image, tag the Docker image, and push the Docker image. It's going to do this for all the services that we have for this microservices. And once it pushes to our registry, we are going to also in our pipeline update our manifest file with the current image that has a tag. CI, we are going to be using Argo CD to connect to our repo, and Argo CD is also going to sync once there is a change, and it's going to deploy this change to our Kubernetes. I hope you're excited about that. Without saying too much, and let's get right into it. Let me walk us through the code we already have locally. From there, we are going to be creating, signing up for GitLab account. Okay, I'll minimize this and go to our application code. I've actually walked through this application code in our first video. If you haven't, or in the 3rd video where I talked about the infrastructure of this microservices. If you've not had that time, please, go back and look at the structure and understand what this application is doing. But if not, you can also, still have a look. We are building, or we have this ticketing app, or I will call it a project app, where you list our projects, give it a price. People come in and purchase this price, and you're going to have a feel of an e-commerce website where you're going to make some payments, but not using your real card. We have some dummy numbers you can use to make payments on this website from Stripe. First folder we have is the auth, which is in charge of the sign up, sign in and sign out of our application. We have the client, which is more like the front end or the presentation of the application. We have the expiration, which is in charge of timing. Once you have something in your cart, it's waiting for you to make payment. If not, it's going to cancel it, and you don't have anything in your cart again. And we have the orders, which is going to look out for your orders. We have our message bus, which is our NAS test. It's going to be our message bus. Payments, which is going to be looking at for the payments if you have the right card in, or you have the right number, and you have authorization and all those stuff. And the ticket, it's going to look at if the ticket is successful and all that. So this is the code, and for each microservice we have the Docker file in there. And okay, so everything looks good. And make sure you take your time and review the application code. I'm going to be leaving the link or the GitHub or the GitLab link to this repo for you to have a look before you start making changes and start deploying. Then the second folder we have is going to be for the manifest file. Now that we have the manifest file, I know I've also talked about this in the past in the third video too. So you can go, it's just the regular deployments, and it also has deployments. You're deploying the service and you're also deploying your database. So each of the microservices have their own database. Okay, without saying too much on this, we have our code and the manifest files ready. Next will be to sign up on GitLab. Okay, we'll do this together. Here we are on Google. We can go to gitlab.com and we're going to be signing up. And we can go to sign in, and on sign in we are going to register. So register, then I'll register. All right, verification successful. It's me. Group name. Okay, I'm gonna give MS Ticket app. Anyone cancel. Okay, we have our first project ready. That's our first project. And it has a README. We're going to be creating the second project, which is going to be for the manifest file. Now I'm back to the home page of GitLab. I have this created. I'll create the second one, which is creating a blank project. This project, MS Ticket manifest, and I don't know why it's giving it this. Okay, it's going to be a private repo and create. Okay, I'm gonna create the project. All right, good. Here I'll go back on here, be seeing the two projects that I've created. We have finished creating our repos, one for the code that is going to house our code, that's our microservices, and the second that is going to house our manifest file. Next on here, we are going to be doing GitLab SSH sync between our GitLab and our local machine. We're able to push, download, clone, communication between GitLab and our local machine. So we have to set up that SSH. All right, I will go back to my terminal. Command to create the SSH key will be SSH keygen -O, which is for option -T. The type is going to be RSA common email address @gmail.com, and close that off. Okay, I'm going to just accept all default and don't put anything. I'm going to now list what we have in the home directory, SSH. And we have this new key that we have created, the ID RSH. I am going to copy this, the public key, and add it to my GitLab account. To do this, back to my terminal, I am going to cut, using this command, I'm going to cut the public key, copy this P back on here. So to paste the SSH key, you click on your profile here, go to preferences, and on preferences you're going to see your SSH key. And SSH key here, we are going to be pasting that, and up. The title, I can change this to my MS Ticket app, and add key. This is already added. Next I'll be doing is to add the private key to the GitLab repo. So this GitLab repo that I'll be needing, it will be our code repo, the repo that has the code, which is this one. So I'm going to open the repo, and on the left panel, go to settings and go to CI/CD. On here I will look for variables. I will expand, add variables. Okay, everything here is going to be default. and the value, I'm going to go to the command line and get this. All right, this is a long one. Copy, and I'll paste that here, and I'll add the variable. Go back home, and I'm still seeing the two projects that we've created. Next on here will be to push the code that we have in our local machine to be in all the repos. This is the application code or the microservices code. And once I'm here, I want to, let's be sure I'm in the root. It's remote attached to it. I'll do V to see. Okay, I have some already for GitHub. But now I want to add the one from the Gitlab, so that if I want to push, I can push changes to either GitHub, or I can push the changes I want to push to Gitlab. But in this case, I'm not doing anything on GitHub. I'll be pushing all my changes to Gitlab. So to add that, you do git remote add and give it an alias. So I'm going to give it Gitlab, just to keep it simple. And I'm going to be pasting the URL from Gitlab. Open this one and go on here and copy the SSH. Once I copy the SSH, I am back to VS Code. I'll paste that on here, and good. So now I want to push all this code to GitLab. Okay, let's start with git add. We are adding everything. Git commit -a, initial code, commit, GitLab main, git push, GitLab main. All right, we have pushed our code to the main. We go on here and refresh. Yep, we see our code is on here and everything is good on this side. Next will be to clone or to push the code from the manifest and push it to the second repo. I'll open the terminal for this one, and we are here and git status. Okay, CD one back, and okay, I want to push, make sure I have all this in one folder. I'll also call this, no, that's not a file. I want to create a directory and call it manifest, and I'll push all this, copy or move all this to this folder. Yeah, they are all in this folder called manifest. Okay, I will cd into manifest file, and now ls, I have this. So this is what I want to move. Okay, git init to initialize this. Okay, let's see, git status. Okay, we have this on here. I want to do git remote. Of course, there is nothing on here, but okay, so I'm going to do git remote add. Alias is going to be the GitLab, and I'll paste the URL from on here. Go back home, and this is the one we want, and we'll copy the SSH and come on here and paste that. Okay, so now when we list, we have something listed. Okay, once we have this git status, I need to do git add. I want to add this manifest, then git commit and add some message, committing manifest files. Okay, we have all that ready, and we run git push. Okay, we can copy this and paste it here and run. Okay, push is successful. Okay, go back here and refresh this. Okay, we have master. Okay, in master we have manifest, and this is where we have all our files. Okay, that's good. Next will be the Argo CD installation. That's the fun part. We can go to Google and search Argo CD installation on Kubernetes. Yeah, Kubernetes. And we can go to this one, getting started. Provided you have all these requirements, you have kubectl and make sure Docker is running. Then I'll start, creating namespaces. And for Docker, I will make sure that I have Kubernetes also enabled. Go to dashboard. Okay. On here, you can see my engine is running and Kubernetes is also running. If it's not, you come here and you enable it, apply and restart. We can come to our terminal. All right, we'll copy this and run. It's going to create a namespace, and in that namespace is going to, apply all the Argo CD component. You can start with kubectl get all and push that namespace Argo CD, and you see everything that Argo CD has just added. Okay, now you see everything is up and running. Okay, now if you look through our services, you see that the Argo CD server is running as a cluster IP, but we want to be able to access our Argo CD UI from the web or web UI. So we are going to change this cluster IP to node port or even load balancer, right? Argo CD CLI installed. We are going to run this command because we want to change the Argo CD server to load balancer or even to node port. So back onto the terminal. This is what we want to change, this to a node port. I will copy this. But I want to change this to node port. So I'm able to get IP I can use to access it from my local machine. And okay, guess this is ready. I'll get this. Yep, I have. This is node port now. Port forwarding. I'm going to copy this command here and run that on the terminal. Yeah, the port is forwarding. Now I have to go to my local host 8080 to access my Argo CD. Let me check that here on Google. 8080. Okay, you'll get something like this which says your connection is not private. You can go to advanced. If you are running this on this is Chrome, you can go to advanced and you say proceed to localhost. Is safe. You might get something like that. How to log in? It says using the username admin. We can log in. How do we get our password? That will be the next step. This will be our next step. Make sure you also have Argo CD CLI running on your local machine. Once this is running, we can use this to retrieve our password. I will come back to the terminal, new tab, and I'll paste this to retrieve the password. And this is the password. And I'm going to use admin as my username, and the password is what I just copied from the command line or from the terminal. I will sign in here and we are in. So our Argo CD is up and running in our local machine. Next will be to set up our CI/CD pipeline or the Gitlab CI/CD configuration. All right, so I'll be going back to Gitlab. Okay, here we are back to Gitlab, and our CI/CD is going to be on our code repo. I will go back home and I will go to the code repo. Once I'm on here, you click on this plus sign and you create a new file. The name of your file, please make sure it is .gitlab-ci.yaml, either this or YAML. Then here you can start, typing. Here we will start typing pipeline. Few things you can do. You can search on Google on here and say build and deploy images on GitLab. Let's look for documentation that is from GitLab. Let's look at this documentation. You can look on here, the same way you go to marketplace on your GitHub, to look for stages, to look for job. That's the same thing you can do on here on the GitLab docs. You can search for like the type of things you want to do, the type of jobs you want to run, and you copy the pipeline. What we're actually looking for is something similar to this. Back on here, I'll be pasting the command. All right, let me explain a little bit of what we'll be doing in this CI/CD pipeline. So first, I want to, test out building an image, and I have to specify the stage and write the jobs, write variables, and for the jobs, I'll have to define the stages or define the services. Let's just start writing. So like I said, I will start with defining a job. So the job I want to start with is to build an image. So that will be this will be the name of the job. And for this job, what it's going to use to build this job is going to use an image, which is more going to be so I'm going to be defining like a server and a client that'll be running our actual job in our pipeline. So the image we are going to be using for this is Docker. And next here I will define the services, and for this I'll be listing Docker. So what I'll be using is Docker in Docker. So this is going to be like a server that is going to run this job. And here I'll be writing the script of what I want to happen during this process of building this image. Will be first, because we are doing this for a microservices, so it means that all the services are in individual folders. So first I will have to cd, so I will write out script here and do this. For this script, I'll be listing out what I want to run in the script. So first will be to cd in the folder. So the folder is auth. So we have auth, we have client, we have variables for this project. Variables. And for this, I want to define a microservice name. And for first name, I will have auth. And next, I want to define my microservice directory. And for this, the directory is auth as well. Then another thing I also want to set as a variable will be my image tag. So for image tag, I'll be using, first will be I'll go get my, so this is the same, oh yeah, still on here. I can go to deploy and go to container registry, open this here. So once you're on here, you will see our container registry. Remember, this repo is a private registry, or is a private repo. So here is the registry. So I just need to copy this registry. I come here and paste it down here. So the only thing I need is just this. I'll copy this out here and paste it. So for our image tag, we want to use the registry, that's our container registry, slash. I'll put $ here for our MS name. It will use this, and it will also have a tag. So the tag we are going to be using is you're going to be using our CI commit short SHA. So it means once you commit anything in the pipeline or anything in the repo, it has a short SHA, like a commit tag number. So it's going to be using like the short of that tag number and tag it to our image. Once this is done, it means that every run, or like once we have any commit, it has a different commit tag, and our image will have a different tag. You can also leave this out. If you leave it out, you know, the last image will always be your latest. So that will be what your container is going to use to deploy. That being said, so let's continue. I don't need this anymore, so I can delete this out from here. So once I cd, now I'm going to be seeding into this directory that I'm going to be specifying. Once I cd in the directory, what I'll be doing, it will be a Docker login, and once you're on here, you can copy this as what I need for my script. So I come back to the pipeline editor and paste it. So I can delete this now. We are going to be doing a Docker login first. The CI registry username is going to pull our password, then the CI registry. Then it's going to do a Docker build. The tag it's going to use is this tag. So this tag that we have specified here. And once it CDs in that folder, it has a Docker file for each of the microservices. So it's going to be building using the tag in the root of that service folder. Once it's done, it's going to do a Docker push. So this is all we need to do, and we've set our variables. Next, I will also want to set up what the stages are. So stages will be, first we are doing a build. So in this build, what I will do here will be to also come down to this job and specify our stage here. So I'll write stage. The stage will be build. So this build is going to be this build and this build here. Okay, so once this is done, you see that Gitlab is always checking for syntax. If it's correct, if it's not correct, it will let you know it's not correct. Maybe there's something you're missing or something you're not doing right. Then you can go back to fix that. Once you have this all done, you can commit these changes. This is not all, but I'm just testing out the pipeline. The pipeline is building. You see that on here. You can go to view pipeline, and once you're here, you see that something is building. You can click on here to look through the logs. If you look on here, you see that once the process started, it did a CD to the directory, and it did a Docker login, and it did a Docker build, and it started building the image, and it's copying, and once it's done building, it's gonna do a push. All right, here our job is done and our image is pushed. So we can go to the registry and refresh on here to see the image that we have built. Yes, we have built something for the art, and you go here, you will see that an image is here, and you see the tag that comes with it. That's the short SHA. Okay. Now we are going to be building the real thing and building for all the microservices. Going back to my code editor, we'll start modifying this to add all the things that we want to run. Okay, I have something already prepared. Won't be needing this anymore, but yeah, it's still similar to this. All right, I will explain this. Okay, so for all the stages, we are doing two stages. We are doing two stages. One to build a Docker image, and the second will be to update our manifest file with the updated or with the recent or the latest image. Like I said, but this, since I'm running for all the microservices, I need to set this as a template, then set out all the variables, like all the folders and the services that we want to build all this for. So I'm going to have my build as a template and call this a build definition. So build definition is still the same thing we did in the first job that we ran. Is going to use the server and clients and using Docker and Docker to run our build process, and it's going to cd to directory. It's going to do a login, build, and do push. So instead of repeating this, all the microservices are going to be doing the same for all the processes, cd and run and do the build. And the second part of our job, or the second job, would be to update our manifest file. And to update this, it has to use an Ubuntu server. So it's like going into a machine. You remember when we set our SSH private and public key, copy the private key and put it in our repo variables. So it's going to be using that same key, and it will put it in that Ubuntu server, and it's going to do a show mode to that key and do a scan, and it's going to add that host to a non-host, so it's allowed to run command. Now we are going to be, because we want to run some Docker command within that machine, we are going to be getting, that's why we downloaded here, we are getting our Git. So we'll be running Git command. We'll set our username, we'll set our email, then we're going to be cloning. What are we cloning? We are cloning the repo that has our manifest file. So it's going to cd in that repo. The cool thing here is going to be, it's going to look within our manifest file. It's going to look through all the files that has -deploy.yaml. If it's looking through all this file, anywhere it sees an image, it's going to replace it with the microservice name. You look for the microservice name that has a short SHA, it's going to replace it with the updated one. So this is what it's going to be doing, and once it does that, it will do a git add, do a git commit, and it's going to do a git push. So once it pushes this, it's pushing it to the main. So the main is like our master for our manifest repo. Once this is done, so this is the two jobs that we want to do for our microservices. Now, because we've set this as a template, first is the build template, and we called it the build definition, and the second is the update manifest template, and we are calling it the update manifest definition. Here we are listing out all the services. So for auth service, it's going to run the same, build definition. For build definition, the variables it needs is the microservice name, the directory, and it's going to have a tag for that microservice. And the second job will be to update manifest file. So I'm listing out here the variables, right, for the auth service. So I will do this repeatedly for all. So it's more like listing out all the microservices. So that's why I have all of them listed here. And once we have this on here, we are going to be, pushing, and we're going to be building. We're going to give it a couple of minutes. You see our syntax is correct, everything is good. And once we commit, so this is showing for the last one we ran, we're going to, commit this one and give it time to run. Now that the pipeline is running, go here to view the pipeline. You will see all the stages. You see that this will run before the update manifest. That's why you have stages, to have priority for your stages or how you want your job to run. All right, our job is done. We need to go to the registry and go back here to see all the images. yes, we have all the images that are on here. So remember, we built the auth twice. We have the two tags. You can click on here to see the first tag and the second tag. So the second thing we need to verify is that our images has been pushed to our manifest repo. We go on here, and yeah, you can still go back here and you click on this to open it, and you see, let's look for any of our, this is the auth. You open this and you see the image that was added here. You see the 2BDA for the auth, 2BDA, and we go back again and check another random one. We can look at the ticket to see 2BDA. So all of them are going to be the same 2BDA. You go back here, you go to auth, let's check the order, 2BDA, go back. All right, now that our test is done, now that we have our pipeline ready and our image updated in the manifest file, now we want to create a secret that will allow Kubernetes to pull the image from our private repo. So to do this, we need to go back to the home page, and you go back to group, the group that this repo belongs to. You click on that group, you go here to group setting, and in group setting you can go to repository. From here you see the deploy token. You expand this, you add a token. For this token we are going to call it KS pull secret. You can set the expiry date if you want. I think I want to give it a name. Oh yeah, now I can edit this. Let me close this out and create another one. And for expiry date, let's leave that blank. Let me give it just 1 month. And for username, I'll call it Cube user, and I'm giving it a read registry. I will create this token. It's created. This is the user and this is the password. So I have to copy this and use it for my secret. Make sure you copy this before you close this. If not, you won't see this again. So let me just copy it out and paste. Now I will go back onto my terminal. Echo. I want to encode this secret. The username here is user, and the password, is 64. Okay, now it has given encoded this secret. I can now do cat. I can actually just touch the file. Okay, so we can cut that file, and we have, and this is encoded, and here we want to create secret. We already have a secret file in our manifest file, so I want to update this and add our new secret. We have this, and we'll copy this here and paste it in the secret. Alright, that's all done. I will commit these changes. Now I'll be connecting the manifest repo to Argo CD. To do this, I will go to settings. And on settings, I will go to repo, connect a repo. Here I'll be using HTTPS. Set this as Git. Project is going to be default. repo URL, I'll go back to here to copy this. It has to be on this one. I'll copy the HTTPS link. So remember, what we are deploying is using our manifest file. I'll come on here and paste that. Username, password. For password, username is actually optional. You can skip that, but I choose to, do that too. I think everything looks good. I will connect if, it's successful. So our repo is connected. Next will be to add the app. I'll be building the app or deploying using Argo CD. All right, we'll be adding our application, and to do this, go to new app. I'll name this ticket app. Project name will be default, sync will be automatic, and the source here, the head branch path will be the root. Since this is in our root directory, if you go back on here, you see that everything is on the root directory. I don't have a folder within this repo, so everything is on the root. Okay, go back here, put that dot. If you have all your deployment files in a folder, you have to name that part here or name that folder in here. Cluster URL will be this. Namespace, I'll put default. Remember to type this default. And I think everything looks good here. I will run create. All right, give it some time. You can open this up here and wait. So it's synced, everything is progressing. Another thing you can do while this is running will be to go grab Ingress and Nginx, and you go to their GitHub page. From the GitHub page, you go to the official page. On here, you will see the deployment link, which is on here. You copy this, go back to your local terminal, and you run this. If it's already running, nothing will change. If it's not running, it will deploy it. All right, let's go back to our app, and everything seems to be synced and healthy. Now is a big reveal, which is to test the application. Okay, some things are still deploying, and just give it some time. On here, you'll see that we have our secrets. All the secrets are good. We have the services, and we have the services for all the microservices. Then we have all the deployments on here. The Ingress service is up and running. We still have our pods building. We can go check it out and see what's going on. kubectl get pod. Okay, they're running. I can clear this and run that again. I'll do get all in this namespace. Okay, so that's all the things that are running in our Argo CD. So with Argo CD, you're able to visualize, your deployments, your services, everything. You can even troubleshoot from on here. I think everything looks good in the terminal. It's still taking time here to create. You see that container is creating. You can click on here to see our deployment file, and you can also look at events of everything that is going on. You see scheduled, pulling, started, created, and pulled. You can also look at the log. Here it says listening to port 3000. Okay, I can close that out here. So it seems everything is good, but it's just taking time for this to check out to be healthy. You can do the same on here, and you see that is listening. is up and running. I'll give you a couple of minutes again. Let's see how everything turns out. But while this is going, let's start testing our application and see if it opens. And remember, we have, go back here and I'll clear this. I'll run kubectl get ingress. So for this ingress, this is the ingress we have, and you remember this is the same ingress we have in our host file. So for host file, if you haven't done that before, I will cd home and I will run cat etc host. Okay, you see that we have that on here. If you don't have it added, you can add this. Just go to your host file. If you're using a Linux or a Mac machine, you can change this. For Windows is different. I showed that in my last video. You can go check it out, how to add that in your Windows machine. Okay, this is what we need to go test out our application. I'll copy this, go here. Okay, we see that everything is checked out, everything is running from the UI. Okay, we go here and paste. Fingers crossed. All right, our application is up and running. So you try it out and let me know how it goes. If you have questions, reach out, and don't forget to like, subscribe, share this with friends. And in the next video, I'll be adding a test job to this same project, and let's see how this goes for our Gitlab CI/CD. And thanks again, and see you in the next video of the series. Thanks. Bye.